Привет and greetings from amazing Almaty, a city in the south of Kazakhstan. And recently I came across the term geomaxing, which basically means moving to a foreign country in order to improve your chances on the dating market. Now, I've been advocating moving for 3 to 12 months per year to countries in Eastern Europe, and yes, I am counting Kazakhstan as Eastern Europe, although of course it is as close to Beijing as it is to Kiev here. And let's get into the video and examine whether it's just that simple, moving country to a place like Kazakhstan, and by the end of the weekend you will have a Kazakh model on your arm. Or is there more to it? Поехали!
Tsar Experience.
So we got this incredible sunshine in Almaty today, pretty phenomenal. So a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from a marketer, and it was some unsolicited advice. Basically what he was saying is that I should say in my content that Western women are basically garbage, that it's all over. You know, you need to escape the West, all those terrible Western feminazis, there's no hope for men anymore. But if it were simply just like that, you just had to buy a one-way ticket to Riga or to Chisinau or to Moscow or here Almaty, then that would be the end of the video. Obviously, number one, buy a ticket, and number two, it wouldn't be true. Getting on a plane and going to another country is not a panacea. It's not a silver bullet that all your problems are going to be solved. And number three, I guess, is that if you've got that negative attitude that it's all the Western women's fault and I just need to go to a country somewhere else and everything is going to be resolved, you're not dealing with the core issues about your perceived values. That's not what I'm going to be saying in today's video. I think if you have that mindset, probably you're 30 years too late to come to Eastern Europe and actually succeed. Probably better off finding a small island, remote island in the Philippines. I believe maybe you still have a chance there. So definitely not a panacea just to jump on a plane and come to beautiful Almaty for the women. But as you see, it's pretty nice weather here at the moment. So the reason that I'm in Almaty at the moment is I'm here with an in-person client living the Tsar experience, and we have chosen Almaty. If you're interested in having an unforgettable weekend in Eastern Europe, have been recently with clients in Chisinau, Moldova, here in Kazakhstan, perhaps going to Riga in Latvia very soon, then there's an application form in the video description to this video. But first, please watch this video. It's up in the card down below, also description, from Kharkiv in Ukraine, where I filmed Living the Tsar experience with my clients last year. So I'll get to the crux of the video. In my opinion, if you know what you're doing and you move to Eastern Europe for at least 3 months a year, so you're not coming as a tourist for a weekend, you can jump up, we'll say, 2 points in that scale that a lot of guys are going to understand, which is 1 to 10, normally in terms of looks, but in how they rank girls, right? So if you were a guy and you're an average Joe and you're used to getting a 5 back home, then yeah, knowing what you're doing and moving here to Eastern Europe, you could date a 7. And if you're getting the 7 and 8s back home, then yes, you could come to Eastern Europe with the right plan, and then you could date 9s and 10s. So that is what I see. The days of flying in with a marriage agency and being wife hunter Harry and been used to getting 2s and 3s back home, then leaving with a 9 from a decimama. Maybe that really happened back in the early 90s, but this is 2022. That ain't happening. Let's be frank about it. So yeah, 2 points for what I think, and even though I don't really like that scale so much, but just easy for guys to understand what I mean. Yeah, you can do significantly better with the right plan. In fact, I remember an Irish friend, Dave, sent me a photo once of his cousin who was getting married in Kiev, and there was another guy who was there from the West. I don't remember his nationality, but my friend Dave described him as an average Joe, basically. He looks like a 5 back home, and he was with this Ukrainian stunner who was his girlfriend in Kiev. So this guy had actually jumped up 4 points. This is about at least 10 years ago. And what was he doing in Kiev? He was an English teacher. So, you know, something that's a little bit of a journeyman's job, not knocking it to make cash when you're traveling in places, because obviously English is in high demand, being the global lingua franca. But according to my friend, and I kind of concord looking at the photo, there was nothing above average about this guy, but he did have above average, superiorly above average girlfriend. That ain't happening anymore. So what have my clients done that have succeeded the most here in Eastern Europe, the guys who were able to get the 9s and 10s? Now, my experience with those clients was that actually back home, before they came to Eastern Europe, they were able to get at least 7s and 8s. So again, it's that 2-point jump. And they were not obese, had some style or a particular look. They were not broke, they were not autists, they were able to talk to girls, at least they had the fundamentals down. They also invested in having a plan. They used different ways to meet the women, but they did have a good understanding of the different ways you can about that. Maybe it's online dating, having a good Tinder profile, maybe it's about creating a very good social circle, maybe it's hitting the clubs at night, the bars and clubs, and actually excelling in that environment. Or they set up their lifestyle to actually meet the women in their daily routine, going to the gym, hanging out at the cafe. They were able to do that cold approach without resorting to paid dates, which is what marriage agencies or matchmakers pitch, because the value of those dates is very low in general. Nor were they walking around a shopping mall for 8 hours, stopping all the girls that they could see, because that is, again, very unlikely to work with 9s and 10s, women who have options. And it is a monumental investment of time for such a low return. So they were not doing any of that malarkey either. So in conclusion, can you come to Eastern Europe for, let's say, 3 months a year and start dating the 9s and 10s, the hottest women in the region? The short answer is yes, with a few caveats. You need a plan in order to do that. And I am the man with the plan. That is what I help my clients with. And in fact, before the February 24th, 2022 invasion of Ukraine by Russia, one of the biggest questions I was getting on my consulting calls was basically about where to geomax. Ironically, they weren't using that term. It was which city, in which country should you choose in order to set up, you know, your lifestyle and actually get on the best, because it's different for different people. People have different goals. You have different goals to other guys. One city is going to be a good option for one guy, and it's going to be a different city for the other guy. And that is something that you don't want to really invest 3, 6 months, 9 months, a year figuring out when I've already been to those cities and I can tell you which one is most likely going to be the best match for you. So interested in that, then down below there is a link in the video description to my consulting. And on this fantastic t-shirt weather autumn afternoon in Almaty, Kazakhstan, I bid you farewell, and I will see you in the next video. До свидания. Ciao, ciao.
SAR Experience.